Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week of devotions, Monday morning. I thought I would do something slightly different this week. I thought I would tell a story and make it up in 5 different sections. And it's the story that we find in the book of Esther. And it is essentially about Esther. Now, how much of the story of Esther do you know or do you remember? It's a story we have a vague recollection of, but it is utterly fascinating. It is a story that is set in Babylon, in the Jewish community, well, maybe not in the Jewish community, but involving certain numbers of Jews in the court of King Xerxes, who was a very powerful man. And in the 3rd year of the reign of King Xerxes, he decides that he is going to show the world just how powerful he is. He calls emissaries and influential people from around the empire, the remote empire even, to show them just how powerful he is in terms of his armaments and his riches. And for 180 days, Xerxes has this unending banquet. It is a grotesque picture of excess. At the end of 180 days, he decides to throw a party or a banquet for 7 days for the locals. I mean, why should it only be the great and the good that get the luxury? So he decides to throw a party. It goes on for 7 days. People are told you can drink as much as you want, and that's what they did, including the king himself. And at the end of the 7th day, when he's had a way too much to drink, he has an idea. He has a very beautiful wife, Queen Vashti, and he thinks to himself, I want to show everybody just how beautiful and how lovely my wife is. And she's now going to come out and she's going to parade for us. So Vashti, who wasn't there at the time, is given this order that you must come out and parade in front of the people. Well, Vashti does not like this and she says no, which enrages her husband and the officials of the empire as well. And Xerxes says to his attendants, what do we do now? My wife has been defiant. And they said, King, you can't let this pass by. You've got to do something, because just now we're going to go home to our wives. And when they hear that Vashti has defied her husband, they're all going to defy us. For your sake and for the sake of all the husbands in the realm, you better sort Vashti out. Well, Xerxes says, what do I do? And they say, banish her. And they do that. She is sort of fired. She's sort of divorced. And she's left in the lurch. And Xerxes carries on his life, at least for the time being, as a king without a queen. Now that's the first part of this extraordinary story that we're going to see through this week. Do you suppose there's a lesson to be learned in that? It's not as if there's a teaching for us specifically in the first chapter of the book of Esther. But if one looks at that and looks at Xerxes' behavior, one understands that it was a very male-dominated society, and that women were not only second-hand or second in rank, they were decidedly inferior. And bully to Queen Vashti, that she was a woman of enough character and inner strength to say to her mighty husband, I'm sorry, that's not the way you treat me. And she draws a line in the sand and says, no, I will not appear. I will not be embarrassed. I will not be humiliated. You will show me more respect than that. Guys, how do we react? How do we treat? How do we love our wives? May we never embarrass them. may we always, but always treasure them. Nothing humiliating in our attitude, in our speech. Always remembering the words of St. Paul, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. That's how we are to love our wives. Xerxes got it all wrong. He had upside down values. Vashti emerges from that first incident as a woman of great worth and character. May God raise up husbands who truly love and honor and respect their wives. Thank you, Vashti. And may you, Xerxes, learn a lesson or two about how women ought to be treated. God be with you.